This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up.
Hey fam, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another reaction. This is Segovia coming to you live from the man cave. Hope everyone out there is having a good day, y'all. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. We're back. We got a good hour of some TikToks we're going to get into. It just, the things that are happening that's crazy in this world and creepy just never seem to end lately since 2020. But we're going to get into it. I ain't going to sit here and talk your guys' ears off. Enough with the chit chat. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Babies in the womb are lives. And I know everybody doesn't believe that, but I happen to believe it. My Bible tells me that they are. And I know everybody doesn't believe that. But for me, that's what's important. My wife Lauren and I have 8 adopted children in our home right now. And when I go home every day and I look at those kids, I don't see 8 choices. I'm sorry, those are 8 lives. And yes, we need to protect our women. Yes, we need to protect our mothers, but we need to protect those children as well.
That's what practice was about. It was about practicing the script.
There's an issue with the officiating. And when you speak to people around the league, they believe it's as bad as it's been in a long time, maybe ever. I think the league office themselves, if they were being honest, was not happy with the calls in that game.
Look at what happens. You're watching it right now. I'm not cutting. I'm not pausing. Patrick Mahomes scrambles from the 35 for 2 yards. So now it's 2nd down. He scrambled for 2. It should be 2nd and 8. Okay? What happens though? What happens? Look, right here. Right here. The Super Bowl logo shows up, and then what happens? 1st and 10? Somebody explain that to me. All he did was get from the 35 to the 37, and now it's 1st and 10?
And this referee's going
Wow.
to miss this call. Yeah, because they hate you and they love the Colts, that sort of thing. The NFL is rigged, and how every year he used to get a script. Day 1 of training camp that would get dropped off at his locker. It was like, week 1 you'll do this, week 2 you're gonna have a hamstring injury, week 3 this is gonna happen, week 4 you're gonna get 3 touchdowns. And so then you just have to, this is what goes on and this is what we have to do in order to WWF. So it's like, you know, we know what's gonna happen, but you still got put on a show.
What did you think when you got the script in 2016 that said your career was gonna fall off a cliff when you stopped believing in God?
That was 2015.
This shit right here, this is proof. That right there, that don't make no sense.
The women that are posting videos like, at least I won't have to tell my daughter I chose gas prices over her rights. It's getting really embarrassing for the rest of us because you are not making any sense. Because in this case, you're talking about abortion laws, which was overturned by the Supreme Court. Roe v. Wade was a Supreme Court decision to overturn that. And all it means is that your state is now responsible for your abortion laws. So literally did not matter who was getting into office. Your state's abortion laws are your state's abortion laws, and you can change that on a state level if it ever comes up on your ballot. But literally, what the fuck? Why are people this uneducated?
Kamala Harris couldn't have won. Want to know why she couldn't have won? Because she has no British DNA. She has no Scottish DNA. Donald Trump and Barack Obama are actually cousins. Distant cousins, but cousins in fact. Joe Biden, John F. Kennedy, cousins. So the American process, when it comes down to voting for our election, we think we control it. We think that we vote for the person that we want to vote for, but truthfully indeed, they go off of a bloodline. They go off a bloodline. Whoever has the strongest DNA is going to win. Why do y'all believe now? It kind of opens up an idea now. Where Donald Trump was, hey, they stole the vote. They stole the election. He was over here basically just trying to say that, look, my ancestral DNA, my lineage, my bloodline is stronger than Joe Biden's bloodline.
One of the only to speak out against this Diddy thing. What's your take now?
Can I get one?
John, you made a statement about Diddy. What? Any reaction to Diddy? Jason, hey, my man, do you have any reaction to the Diddy scandal? Any reaction? No reaction. No reaction? Oh man, I'm doing great, but I'm a little worried about the music industry with this Diddy thing. Do you think? Man, how's everything going?
Everything good, man.
Hey, is Hollywood going to survive this Diddy thing? Like, we're worried. Will you respond? No, she wants to respond. Look at it.
No.
I want to ask about the Diddy scandal. Have you ever heard of anything such?
Man.
No.
Go.
No?
No.
Out of all, you have.
Hey, is the Baldwin family at all concerned about Justin Bieber with this P. Diddy thing? Have you Tyler! How come Hollywood's so silent about P. Diddy? P. Diddy! Tom Hanks. Hey, Tom! How come no one's talking about Diddy? P. Diddy! D-Wade! Are you ever going to talk about Diddy?
Do not hand our fates over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us. Because a vote for him is a vote against us, against our health, against our worth.
You see what Michelle Obama said right there? I'm here to tell you that I believe if Michelle Obama was running, she would have won this election by a landslide. She's that popular. She's that skilled. She's a brilliant orator. She's a wonderful woman, the greatest first lady I think this country has ever seen. But when she added that line, how you think American citizens felt? So in other words, if we don't agree with you, we're against you. It didn't affect me because I'd already voted for Kamala Harris. Might not have affected most women, maybe some. How do you think the men felt about that? So we have to do what you tell us to do, otherwise we're anti-you. Thought that worked? Do y'all know anything about most men? Think that's going to work? How about this one from Oprah? Take a listen.
If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again. And let me be very clear. If you do not make sure that the people in your life can get to the polls, that is a mistake. Deciding not to decide, that is most definitely a vote to let other people control your future.
Civil Rights Act of 1964, Voting Rights Act of 1965, been in place since 1965. That's spanning more than nearly 60 years. Okay? And you're going to look an audience in the face and you're going to tell them that if you vote for Donald Trump, you may not ever be able to cast a vote again. Who believed that? Who believed that coming from Oprah? Truly, who believed that? This is the kind of stuff that alienates an electorate, that alienates a vote or a voter. Because the freedom that you tell them they have, you try to confiscate morally by letting them know you ain't worth a damn unless you vote the way we say you should vote. Who's going to go for that in a general election?
And this was like
a lot of the arguments, not arguments, but a lot of the points that a lot of the Democrat people that are close to me were scared of was taking away Social Security. You know, my dad's retired, gets all that. But like I said, like with a lot of these things that they're saying on those stages, you got to use common sense. Do you think Trump is going to come out and say, I'm going to cut Medicare, I'm going to cut Social Security, like none of his supporters have Social Security? Like none of his supporters are getting Medicare? There's probably more of his supporters getting that than there is Democratic supporters getting that. If not even, you know? Like, use common sense with things like that, because if he comes out to say that, I don't care how much of a Trump supporter you are. You're not going to support that. You're not going to vote for that. You're not. So why would he come out and say that? Like, you got to use common sense with a lot of things, with the abortion things. Like, who in their right mind wants to ban abortion 100%? I know there's some, but like, who in their right mind? Now, I agree after a certain amount of months, I agree with that. But from day one to ban that, like, who in their right mind is going to support that? You know what I mean? Like that. So a lot of these things, I think a lot of people did use common sense this time. Back in 2020, that algorithm was going on Trump hard all over social media. There was no Trump support on social media in 2020 like there was in 2024. So that's why it didn't work.
TMZ pre-cell phone camera. So you could like go out. Nobody's going to take your pictures, so you could really wow out, but and nobody would know what you did last night.
I have more photos of Commando Kutcher here, naked in a club, than probably anybody. Naked in a club than probably anybody.
They lie about dinosaurs. I'm not saying that big lizards and big creatures didn't exist, woolly mammoths, but if you actually look into dinosaur bones, whenever you go to a museum, you're not looking at the actual dinosaur bone. You're looking at a replica of it because they say that they're so biodegradable that they can't even put it on display. Out of all the dinosaur bones you've ever seen, John, you've never even seen a real one. That's the first thing they teach kids is they want to make you feel like you evolved from pond scum.
Pond scum.
Look down here in the bottom. It does. Yes, sir, it does. They're not fucking toilets or toilets in them. Holy shit, dude. Those are for people. Yeah, those are for people. They're not toilets. How many are there, bro? I don't know.
And this is another reason why we didn't vote for you, because these people, this is what they're saying, y'all. And they're in those Beyonce circles, those Oprah circles. They're friends. This is why. We see it now. It's not the 90s no more. It's all over.
What are those lights?
What are those?
There was one big light that turned into smaller lights. They're all over Arizona sky. There's one up. There's one up there.
That's a huge one.
But for the most part, they've been pretty stationary.
The northern part of North America is certainly the area that was under the ice cap until 11,000 years ago. Waste of time looking for any sign of a lost civilization there. Northern Europe, waste of time, because it was also a frozen wasteland. But the areas closer to the equator, once you get down into the southern states of North America, get yourself into Mexico, get yourself to the Yucatan, the Maya culture, then you're looking at a place where civilizations could really grow and flourish.
Yeah, that's what's really interesting about just the history of North America in general, is that, you know, when you look at how the Native Americans existed and the way they lived just a few hundred years ago, that seems to be like an artifact of what life was like before that.
Yeah, I think we must give full credit to hunter-gatherer civilizations who might do a bit of agriculture on the side. These are the masters of survival on our planet.
Right.
Not us.
They were the ones who kept the species alive.
They were the ones after the Younger Dryas who kept the species alive, in my view, because they knew how to survive.
Bees are not native to the United States, you know. So they're not. No, they were brought over by the colonists because we needed them. Wow. So honeybees are not native to the United States.
So what pollinated plants before honeybees came here?
Here in the U.S. or here in the sense of here? Because bees evolved from wasps, actually, as wasps.
You guys believe that? There's no bees here. The great Christopher Columbus, the genius, smarter than all the people that were already here, that never traveled the world even though we had boats in the Americas. Mr. Christopher Columbus was the genius to bring bees over.
I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate him on his election as President of the United States.
I have already said that we will work with any head of state that the American people have given them the mandate.
That's right.
This will indeed be the case in practice.
Órale.
I wouldn't need to brush my teeth at all. I don't ever have fur on my teeth. I mean, if I would eat or drink a Coke, obviously I get biofilm too, but the stuff I'm eating is cleaning my teeth. It's like real food. Like, let's say I eat a raw carrot. You don't have biofilm afterwards. But if you eat a wheat bread, you might have it. If you understand this, there was no toothbrush store a couple of years ago. Like 200 years ago, there was nothing. Or let's say 10,000 years ago. And if you go see hunter-gatherers that are still alive, that live a little bit more ancestrally in Africa, they don't brush. They don't need to. They have nothing. There is no tooth decay. It's just not existing because the human body is immune against tooth decay if it's supportive in its lifestyle, and it's all just epigenetics.
I'm sure I agree with that, but I'm sure those people have some type of plant that they chew on or put on their teeth or in their mouth to flush out anything. You know, I'm sure.
Try to get into this. I felt like I woke up in the Twilight Zone today. First, we have a warning coming out from the FBI saying they are aware of the text messages that people are sending. I actually think that part's more disturbing about what they're saying, but they're talking about the hateful messages being sent from one person to another. So it sounds like many people are going to be arrested. And don't forget, as mansions burn down in California right now, the Epstein files will be released, the JFK files, and also the 9/11 files. And this is alleged, but it seems as if the Obamas are getting on a private plane to leave the country. We've also been seeing a ton of people step down randomly the last couple days, including ex-presidential nonprofits. Wow, this just happened. 3 people have been arrested for connections with Liam Payne's death. And a little bit more news on the monkeys that are loose here in South Carolina. They have not been tested because they're too young. So who knows what that means for us? And Tucker Carlson's making predictions that many are going to find themselves in jail and in prison very soon. Not only are all world conflicts seemingly coming to an end or searching for means of peace, but Bitcoin may hit 100,000, says CNBC. This guy's not even in office yet. And the craziest part of all is the Congress is saying on November 13th they will declassify and tell the whole truth about aliens. Come on, there's a reason for Space Force, as well as Elon's involvement. The next year is going to be the year of revelation and disclosure, and just wait till you hear I have to tell you later.
So, Lucille Ball. I Love Lucy?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so she's working on the Warner Brothers lot.
Warner Brothers
lot. She's there working. They're getting done filming. She goes and gets some dental work done. She goes back to the lot all the time while she's there, while she's driving. She keeps hearing this like just like vibration almost in her jaw. And it keeps happening. Every time she goes back to the Warner Brothers lot, every time she's driving in her car, and she's like, this sounds like Morse code or something, because it like keeps tapping. She goes and talks to the people at the lot. She says, there must be something going on. They look into it, and it turns out underneath the ground is a secret Japanese radio station.
What the heck?
What? Spies. They were literally doing Morse code. She recognized it and literally reported it, and they busted these guys.
No way!
That's insane.
Did you guys know or remember the South Park episode where this was included in it? This is news to me. Apparently it's actually a bit old, but it's season 24, episode 2. And you can watch them talk about this sort of thing, and it's exactly what you think it is. And that's Oprah.
Jill Biden voting in all red was one thing. That was one thing. I wasn't going to go all full tinfoil hat. But then I saw the smile, the absolute smile from President Joe Biden today at his press conference. This guy looked like he just hit the lottery. I haven't seen him smile like that since he put on the Trump hat. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that they voted for Donald Trump, but I it's a non-zero chance, as they say. It's a non-zero chance. Because this man's on cloud 9, and she voted in a red pantsuit. It could have been blue.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for.
Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition.
Last night, I congratulated Donald Trump and offered to work with him on behalf of our country.
Over the 107 days of this campaign, we have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background.
We've spent a year and a half bringing together millions of people from every corner of our country to say with one voice that we believe that the American dream is big enough for everyone.
To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay.
To the young people in particular, I hope you will hear this.
On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win.
This loss hurts, but please never stop believing that fighting for what's right is worth it.
You don't know how old you are. Somebody told you how old you are. Julius Caesar had a big ego. He wanted the extra month, so he said, I'm going to create July. So how old are you? These people are creating months and years to make people a certain particular age. You really don't know how old you are. You don't know how old, I don't know how old I am. People design their own calendar. So we don't know how old we are. We know what people tell us how old we are. We know what people tell us we should be retired by this age. That's what they tell us. Our man's biggest downfall is to believe he has limitations. And that's what we do when we believe we're a certain amount of age. I don't think I'm 58. Do you think I feel 58? When I'm fighting them young niggas in the gym and they're bashing me, them big strong I'm bashing them back. You think I feel 58? You think they're not trying to hurt me in that gym? Yeah. So they can get a reputation? Yeah. Young 30, 28-year-old Yeah. No, they ain't getting nothing.
Follow for more.
So I'm at Best Buy looking at new TVs today. I walk in and they says, how can I help you? I says, I'm here to look for a TV. And the guy says, oh, go right back there. I'll send somebody over. Nobody came over to me. Several people looked at me and walked away. Most of the employees here, there's about 5 associates, and they're all on their cell phones ignoring me. Well, I knew what TV I wanted to buy, but nobody wanted to help me. So while I was walking down the aisles here in Best Buy, I found exactly what I wanted, much cheaper, the exact model that's here on Amazon. So I bought my TV on Amazon, and Best Buy lost their sales. All these sales associates work on commission, didn't give a shit about the commission, and they didn't get it from me.
How many of you guys have dealt with that? Like, I go to stores and when I leave, I'm like, they want us to go to Amazon. They're not even trying. I went to Lowe's one day because my TV bracket, the thing to unlock the TV snapped off. So I had to buy, I bought a 12-inch screwdriver, but I needed a 16-inch screwdriver. So I went to Home Depot. I had a 12-inch, so I was going to return it. And then I went to get a 16-inch. It wasn't on the shelf. So I told the guy, I was like, hey, do you guys have any things in the back? They had 3 in stock. But the guy didn't even want to go. While I was like, he said, maybe somebody just bought them today, so he didn't even want to go in the back to look for it. He didn't even want to go back there and just see if they had it. He was like, usually that means the 3 were on stock and now they're gone or they fell behind a shelf. So he lost my business. Now I still got the TV off. I just ended up snapping the thing, but still, like, do your job. Or when I go to a butcher and ask them, because I was going to make beef jerky, I bought a big roast. I asked the guy, hey, can you slice this, please? Like for beef jerky slices? We don't slice. I'm like, you're a butcher. You should be excited. I know if I was a butcher, I'd be like, hell yeah, give me that. Let me get you with the right beef jerky. I know how to do, you know what I mean? Like, be with the people. Be with the people. I don't understand, like, customer service nowadays. It's terrible.
What do you mean a city-sized object that is thought to be unnatural course corrected itself to head towards Earth and I'm just supposed to go about my day. How many more weird things have to happen before we can just give up on this charade?
Could the flat Earth spin? Could it be spinning slowly?
It is not. There is no motion.
So you're saying the sun is going around us like this?
The sun and the stars and the moon circle around us, right? The sun just goes away. Now look, this looks like it's going below a curve, but this is a coin on a table, and the camera is just slightly below the plane of the table. Well, guess what? The horizon that you see in the distance is actually thousands of feet above your eye level. But perspective brings it all together. Flat Earth, you don't learn in one Nino episode. You don't learn it in one Nino episode. I've been doing this for 10 years, Dave, and every day before 9 a.m., I have my mind blown again with new information. There's more and more and more information, but you can believe in anything.
And it's all about these geometric shapes and plasmoids. And I've now only, after digging into science, realized that that's really what these orbs are, is a plasmosphere. So whoever had sent me this, and they basically say, like, this power is unlimited. Like, people really have to understand that even the letter says if two warring factions had access to this power, the Earth would not last one day. And we're not talking nuclear weapons. We're talking like, poof, we're not here anymore type stuff. And that this is so frightening that this is why they keep it secret. That how do you defeat somebody that has unlimited power, the ability to take a Boeing 777 that's burning out of midair, that has complete control over the media and crafts the perception of events that they want? And it says, after a decade of lifetime in their service, I think I know the answer. You talk about them, and you don't stop talking.
This is hate! These are fucking assholes!
But I don't know where my son is. No one can tell me where my son is.
You are a joke!
My son was in Las Vegas with a lot of his friends and he came home.
And I'm disgusted! I'm a professor! How dare you! How dare you fucking assholes protect neo-Nazis!
If he's been shot, if he's dead, no one knows. But they told me there are fatalities.
About to die.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck
Jesus.
He didn't come home last night, and I don't
Plug
want
in my
prayers.
laptop, y'all.
I don't want thoughts. I want gun control, and I hope to God nobody else sends me any more prayers.
These are kids who are trying to learn about humanity! They're trying to learn about human rights and against racism and xenophobia and LGBTQ rights, and you're letting these fucking neo-Nazis near here! You should kick their ass!
But he was sitting right next to his boyfriend, and his boyfriend definitely was shot with multiple gunshots and taken into
That's the same person, y'all.
You should be ashamed of yourself! You should! Fuck that shit! Fuck that shit! It's not up to these students to kick the ass of a neo-Nazi!
I want gun control. No more guns!
They don't have to raise your fist! They were taught to be peaceful! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Hatred. Jeez.
I'm a professor!
She's a professor!
I don't want her teaching my kid.
Hey guys, she's a professor!
And you're here to protect neo-Nazis! So fuck you! Fuck you, NYPD!
This is pretty bizarre. I don't know who has seen this or not, but at the most recent UFC fight during the pre-show, on the Vegas Sphere, they ran some pretty questionable wording, and they did it at lightning speed, almost like subliminal messaging. So I'm going to play it at normal speed. I'm going to play just a clip of it, and then we'll slow it down and really see what they have to say.
Okay.
Investing with the UCPI in Mexico, he sees what they do, how they show up, how they support their fans. So it's amazing to me to see the growth of the sport. The Mexican fighters are here. The Mexican-born fighters are...
And slowed. They're pretty obvious, like right here.
Jeez.
You know, the people that would say it's just words, it's not just words. Why would you put those things in there? Everything has meaning, and everything in this world right now is trying to just detour us off the path of God and get us away. Even this stuff, even the subliminal stuff. Right here. All intentional. Pretty sad world.
This is all it took to end the war in Gaza. Trump sent a message over to Benjamin Netanyahu saying he wants the war over before he enters into office. And that's all it took. One phone call. Trump didn't even make the phone call. He had a secretary do it. And that's it. And that's all it took. And that's what's so frustrating about Joe Biden. All Joe Biden had to do was make a phone call or just stand up and say no. And the war in Gaza, in West Bank, against Lebanon, and everything else would have been ended. All he had to do was just stand up and say no. So now the war will be over in less than 2 months, because that's when Trump takes office. He did it in a phone call. And it makes all the war that's happened for the past year seem even more ridiculous and senseless. And look, even Vladimir Putin has already come into the table, and there'll be peace against him as well. Just a little bit of backbone and acting like you're a superpower when you're in charge of a superpower can stop the bad behavior of a bad dictator on the other side of the world.
It's so weird to me because the Democrats have become subsumed in this carbon orthodoxy, and you and I have talked about this. What that's done is it's forced them to do something that you should never do if you're an environmentalist, which is to commoditize and quantify everything. So everything is measured by its carbon footprint, how many tons of carbon it produces. And the reason that we protect the environment is just the opposite of that. The reason that we protect the environment is because there's a spiritual connection. There's there's a love that we have. It's not about quantifying stuff. That's what the devil does. He quantifies everything, right? And that is, what he wants us doing. Put a number on it. And the reason we're preserving these things is because we love our children. God talks to human beings through many vectors, through each other, through organized religion, through the great prophets, through the wise people, the great books of those religions, but nowhere with the kind of detail and texture and grace and joy as through creation. And when we destroy nature, we diminish our capacity to sense the divine, to understand who God is and what our own potential is and duties are as human beings. And that...
I hope what you just said, by the way, is chopped up and put all over every social media platform in the world. When we destroy nature, we degrade our own ability to experience the divine.
It connects us to those 10,000 generations of human beings that were here before there were laptops. The central revelation of every one of those religions always occurred in the wilderness. Muhammad who was a city boy from Mecca, had to go to the wilderness of Mount Hera. Buddha had to go into the wilderness, and wander for years and then sit under the Bodhigaya tree to get his first revelation of nirvana. Christ had to spend 40 days in the wilderness to discover his divinity for the first time. And his mentor was John the Baptist, who lived in a cave in the Jordan Valley and ate honey of wild bees and locusts. And, all of Christ's parables come from nature. I'm the vine, you are the branches, the mustard seed, the little swallows, the scattering the seeds on the fallow ground. Because that is where we sense the divine. God talks to us through the fishes, the birds, the leaves. They're all, words from our Creator. And that is why we preserve nature.
Yes.
It's not because of the quantity of carbon. And by the way,
I feel what you said so deeply, I can hardly even express it. And thank you for saying that.
The best thing that you can do for climate is to restore the soils. The soils are the solution to everything. The soil will absorb all that carbon. And it'll absorb the water. It'll stop the flooding. It'll give us healthy food. And that's what our national policy has to be.
Can't wait to go on my hike today. Something in those mountains, y'all. Something in those mountains. Just something outside. When you're outside doing things, I'm going to wash my truck. I'm going to go for a hike. Maybe a run. We'll see. But just being out there in the mountains, I know with me, my mind just... great thoughts come to me when I'm out there on those mountains. But I'm excited to see what he's going to do with this food, with all this stuff. I'm excited to see what he's going to do, what he's going to be doing. I'm going to be paying attention to, what he's doing. Arizona ain't gonna be paying attention to this.
And they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
And also, what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. prices have gone up.
She was a major player in everything we've done, including passage of legislation which we were told we could never pass. And so she's been, and her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things we're doing.
Fam, it was a 4-year-old boy. He said that in his past life, he was Princess Diana.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And this was all over, I think it was UK or British news, right? And this is how it all started. His dad had an old note, right? That he gave to his wife.
Yeah.
And on it was Princess Diana. Guess what the 4-year-old said?
What did he say?
He said, "That was me when I was a princess."
That's a crazy thing to say as a kid.
As a kid, 4-year-old boys. He said, "I'm a princess," right? And then he said after that, he said, "Yeah, I was a princess before the sirens went off." Fam.
Oh.
4-year-old. That means as soon as Princess Diana died, when the ambulance came, he knew, he remembered. And then he, as soon as he grew up, he started mentioning Prince William and Prince Harry. He referred to them as his sons.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird. But no, this is where it really gets.
This kid's still alive, no?
Yes, bro. Right before Princess Diana was born, she had a older brother named John. John died as a baby. So Princess Diana didn't even get to meet John, right?
Yeah.
This kid goes on an interview, said, "I have an older brother named John."
Donald Trump is not inaugurated. He's not in office. Just because he won the quote unquote election, there's a long list of things to go. And I'll tell you what sets off my spidey senses about all of this. They are all acting fairly reasonable. And it's for one of two reasons. One, they are either terrified and they know they're fucking caught and they know that they've got to step in line or they might that's their only chance to not get held accountable. Or two, they have a backup plan to do something terrible to Trump. Now remember, these people fucking tried to kill Trump. The fact that they're calling him and saying, hey, let's do this civil and shit, that's so out of character for them. It makes me think they have another plan.
This video is called The Wandering Man. It's by TikToker BetsAngel69. Take a look.
About a month ago, around Easter, I had taken a video of what looked to be like a shadow figure walking around across the street in the woods. And it's looking directly out my front window, so it's a little hard not to notice. I initially took the video to send it to my friend, and she thought it was just super creepy. So I started taking a couple more videos. I posted them on my Facebook so just my friends and family could see. And this went on for days, and he paces back and forth for hours and hours, not just for 20 minutes at a time. This is hours and hours and hours and days, weeks. I mean, here we are a month and a half later, and it's been still there. That's been kind of curious. This is the church that's directly across the street from my house that I was explaining. This is the area where we see that figure. It just walks back and forth every day, all day.
Oh, dang. You see it back there?
I've been over there a couple of times. As I walk up on it, there's just nothing there.
Y'all see it? Back on those trees?
Yesterday was Easter. I went over there, but two big dogs that were off leash came out, and it was time to go. Then we had the storm, so as soon as we're done with our schoolwork, I will record myself going across the street and show you that as you walk over, you no longer see what appears to be a person.
That's crazy.
Back and forth.
Lockheed has, I think, some assets in Nevada, but they have a lot of corporate facilities in California. And supposedly there is this shack on the side of a highway in California that looks like some nondescript warehouse. And you go into this warehouse, and the whole floor of the warehouse is an elevator. And it drops Lord knows how many hundreds of feet. And you're inside of a facility carved out of rock, deep underground.
Yeah.
And what this guy said is that they are not only reverse engineering craft from retrieved debris in this facility, but they're actually training pilots to fly them. And he told me that the main problem that they have in that training program is that the pilots experience extreme disorientation because of the warping of space-time by these craft. In other words, they discovered early on that these are not simply devices with propulsion systems capable of navigating space very quickly, like they can take you from New York to Australia, right? They're flying time machines.
Watch this economics professor explain Trump's tariffs. Well, the income tax currently costs the American people $2.4 trillion a year. Trump proposes to replace it with tariffs of 20% on everybody but China, who gets an extra special 60% tariff. Altogether, that might bring in about $900 billion a year. This would grow America's economy like rocket fuel. Near term, we're talking a 20% increase in the economy, so about a $15,000 raise for the typical American family. Note that's on top of the $18,000 of income tax you would no longer have to pay. Knock off $3,000 for the tariffs, and you get about $30,000 in additional income for the typical American family, close to $3,000 per month. We might expect a doubling of annual economic growth. So 5% growth would be the new normal. Your kids would be 3 times richer than you, as it used to work in America. If we simply copy countries like Singapore, we might save around about $2 trillion or more. If a president can sell it to American voters, $30,000 is a chunk of change, Congress will go along out of sheer self-preservation. Plus, the bake sales would be lit.
Can you imagine if that happens? Like, what's going to happen in, let's say, a big Democrat wins the next election? They ain't going to be able to take that away. If all of us Americans got a $3,000 a month raise, if they do that, that's when the big CW happens, when the big Revolú happens. Hey, shoot, I'll take $3,000 a month extra. Shoot, I'll take $1,000 a month extra. Give me something. Before that happens, these dudes are gonna come.
I don't understand why you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on. And then, I mean, it's such a simple question, and it's haunted me ever since. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Ask yourself that question. Why do we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on? And who are we actually paying for the privilege of being alive here? Who made them the boss? Who put them in charge? You know? Think about that. We're looking at a war over water, when instead of feeding the military-industrial complex, we could be building desalination plants all over the world. Yeah. So everybody could have water, so they could grow crops. Yeah. But are we doing it? Hell no. Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to empower people to grow food and take care of themselves? Then we can't control them.
Yep.
This is what I'm talking about.
Why? I know, you know, like the amount of money they spend on killing could change the world. Not just the country, the world. There's a lot of third world countries out there that could get changed in the blink of an eye. But divide and conquer. The art of war.
A celebrity was trying to tell you the meaning of life and was silenced.
Everything around you was created. You were created. That table over there created. This chair created. This mic created. That camera created. That hat created. The whole point of the human race in itself is creation. Before now, when there was at least ideally the belief of 2 human beings on Earth, everything after that was a creation in itself. The whole point is evolution and creation. If you're not evolving, you're doing something wrong. So anything that takes away the power of your mind is keeping you still and delaying your evolution.
The last month, we've had 3 of these scorpions actually arrive in various different packages from China. So it's not the same company; they're all different companies. But to see 3 within a relatively short space of time is a concern. They have the potential to be life-threatening. For the average healthy adult, they wouldn't. It would just absolutely ruin your day. but they are potentially a very dangerous species. So the one we would be really concerned about coming in. So if you do find something in a package, treat it with caution. We never know exactly what they're going to be or how dangerous they could be. Don't touch it or anything like that. But if you could get a glass or some bowl or something to just place over it, if you give us a call, we'll find somebody local to actually come and remove that animal from you.
Do you ever actually look at this? Really look. What do you see? And more importantly, what do you not see? You don't see any buildings, any roads, anything, right? And they're going to say that's too high, so how could you possibly see it? So then we look at this, and we're seeing lights. What lights are we seeing? What lights are strong enough that we're seeing them from space, but we can't see any buildings? This is Ireland from space. No buildings, no roads, no nothing. This is Ireland from space at night. You can see lights. What are those lights? Why are you seeing lights? This is Italy from space during the day. Italy from space at night. Can't see a single structure, anything during the day.
Yeah,
but you can see street lights at night, house lights, porch lights. I got it. Maybe they're lighters from Taylor Swift concert. That must be it. And for those of you who stuck around through this, while I was searching through the NASA footage to find this, I found this cool little thing. What do you think's happening here? It's supposed to be from NASA's live feed, and for those of you who say it's not, here you go. ISS. All we're asking is that when you see stuff like this, think logically, think independently. And of course, don't forget to watch the Phone Booth podcast. Peace.
Now, on to the creepier examples of the Mandela effect. And the reason I believe these are creepier is because there's some very, very solid residue for these examples. The first one I'm going to talk about is The Jungle Book. 1967, Disney's The Jungle Book. There is a scene in this movie where countless people remember Baloo the bear wearing a coconut bra. Here is a clip of that scene. Okay, Mandela effect, big whoop. What's the big deal? Why is this creepier than most Mandela effects? Well, the animator who worked on this movie, and more specifically this scene, also remembers the coconut bra.
Oh my God!
Floyd Norman, Disney's prolific first black animator. He actually got to work alongside Walt Disney himself. He worked on classics like Toy Story, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Mulan, and more. And of course, he worked on 1967's The Jungle Book. A few years back, he was constantly posting on a Squarespace website that he ran, where he would share insights, never before told stories, and talked about his experiences as an animator. There, he wrote a post called Things You Don't Know About the Jungle Book. There, he referenced this exact scene. This is what he said in his own words. Veteran writer Larry Clemens thought having animated characters in drag was a surefire gag. Every time the story team would come up with a wacky idea, Larry would always chime in and say, "What if we put him in drag? That would be hilarious." Eventually, Larry managed to get his way. When Baloo the bear has his wacky "I Wanna Be Like You" duet with King Louie the orangutan, we put Baloo in a coconut bra and a grass skirt. Like, hey yo, what the f? That is like, that's it. Like, the Mandela effect is real. But honestly, animators spend way more time with these movies and these scenes than most of us ever will. So for him to have this memory, just like many others, is insane.
This is underrated. The sun is a nutrient. It is not out to kill you. The idea that the sun is giving you cancer is the most asinine, insane, gaslighting, ridiculous statement on earth. It makes all life exist. It charges everything. We are alive because of the power of the sun. Yet you want to tell people to slather on carcinogenic chemicals, bake it into their skin with the suns, and say, oh, that's what's aging you. I'm 51 years old. I've never used sunscreen. I don't have anything done to my face. I eat a crap ton of meat and I drive a convertible. I want as much sun as I possibly can get, because it makes me younger. They're lying to you. They've lied about almost everything. Do the opposite of what the government says. Okay, so let your children play. Let them go outside.
UFOs are real and aliens are real, but they're not from outer space. And that's according to the top 2 UFO researchers after decades-long research. So go to Sabrel.com and
So
say
where do they
it's
think
up
they're
there
from
in time.
if they're not from outer space?
They're interdimensional and potentially fallen angels disguising themselves because they're liars of something, like you said, can't be proven or disproven. I'm from this galaxy 300 light years away.
This is kind of what Tucker Carlson thinks. He thinks there's a spiritual element to it, and he thinks they've always been here, and he thinks that this is what's kind of documented in the Bible as like good and evil. And
that's it, exactly. I mean, that's what's going on. I mean, the top 2 UFO researchers said UFOs are real, number 1. Number 2, they're not from outer space. And number 3, they're demonic. And that's what I talk about, where it talks about fallen angels interbreeding with humans. It's talked about in Genesis 6 and creating a race called Nephilim, who were men of renown, world leaders.
So by now, maybe you've heard the news. There's been 640 pounds of explosives stolen, 400 blasting caps, 400 guns, and 400 vests. Yeah, somebody's building a group of 400 people ready to do some damage.
You can't make this up.
So, Congress has paid over $17 million in hush money for sexual misconduct inside of the offices in these buildings. What? And what's more is that was taxpayer money, right? The allegation is that President Trump paid $130,000 of his own money. But here in Congress, there may be some on this dais. I mean, I'm for turning loose all of these records. Who in here has had the taxpayer pay for their sexual misconduct charges the hush money? I bet there's some over there. There may be some over here. I don't know, but I do know it's taxpayer money. And I do know not a single penny of it has been turned in as a campaign finance expense. Is the FEC going to investigate the $17 million that Congress has paid to settle, behind closed doors, these sexual misconduct allegations?
I don't allow my children to go to sleepovers. I'm a criminal defense attorney. And while you may feel like you know the parents who are hosting the sleepover really well and you know and love and trust them, that's exactly who's committing SA. SA against children is not committed by strangers in Target. It is committed by people that we know, love, and trust. Second of all, you may know the parents, but you don't know necessarily the neighbors, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles, the older siblings, the friends of the older siblings who may all be brought into the equation.
Totally agree. One other thing is children also abuse children. Many parents don't even think of this. If a child has had SA or they've been exposed to adult material, they can start acting out. We always had the playroom right next to the kitchen and the living room, door wide open. We even put a baby monitor in there so we could hear the interaction and the conversation when the kids were little. Sometimes the abuser is not just an adult. Sometimes tragically, it's a child that's had something done and then they do something to another child.
I know I'm not the only one that's seen this. On November 6, 2024, Walmart declared that they're not accepting dollar bills, $1 bills. So if you got a $1 bill, throw that shit away. It don't worth anything around here no more. Not even at Walmart, the superstore.
They're slowly taking away cash. Slowly. I mean, they've been doing it since they invented checks and invented the debit card and the credit card. And now when you go to self-checkout, there's only like 3 that accept cash, the rest card only. Eventually they're getting rid of that. I mean, my bank I bank at, you don't even deal with people face to face. You talk over a screen like it's COVID. I don't like doing business like that, y'all. I'm okay with, you guys are going to kill me, but I don't mind using my debit card. But sometimes I like to use cash if I have cash, so it's always good to have cash.
All right, guys, the moment you've all been waiting for, Jimmy Kimmel finally reacted to President Trump winning the election.
And those sweet,
Here we
sweet
go.
liberal tears
These
are
crocodile
so
tears.
Watch the clip.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
These people, man, these people. I mean, so far, stock market's booming. Wars are supposedly going to end. Those poor people in Ukraine, our allies. Hey, war's over. That's a celebration where I'm from, right? When the war's over, it's a celebration. People with Social Security, they ain't gonna take. See how the Democrats use fear to get your vote. Republicans more use truth to get your vote, from what I've seen. Those dogs.
Oh my God, Bella.
That's a good woman right there, y'all, fellas.
They don't want you to leave.
While everyone's still talking about the fall of Diddy and the further fall of Hollywood, there's another point that everyone is still missing. I would like to talk about how companies and politicians are tied into this. This is me when I graduated with my paralegal studies degree, and the one thing I learned throughout that entire experience was that Walmart controls everything. I didn't go to like a super giant college, but it wasn't small either, so I would take classes, multiple classes from the same professor throughout the years, right? And one of those professors was the head of the legal studies department, right? Head of the whole thing. And he basically taught us how Walmart controls more in politics than the entirety of the American population, opinion, agenda, whatever. Walmart as the company has more of an outcome on who becomes the president than the entirety of the American vote put together, because it does not matter and it is not real. Go and Google the history of the founding of Walmart, the Walmart family and all of that, because I don't have the time. And if you think it's crazy and you think it's hysteria, that professor has multiple articles published, like journalistic articles published about this topic, and it is so deep and it is so disgusting. And then you want to flip it over onto all this Diddy stuff that's happening, and we're all still stuck in celebrity world and all this. And then we flip it on politicians and we go, oh, Trump, oh, Kamala, blah, blah, blah. Name 5 members of the family of Walmart. I bet you can't, but I bet they can name all of you. Because they have access to that information, because they own it. They own everything. They own everything, and they are everything. At this point, corporations and politics, those two words, like politicians, corporate, like it's synonymous. It's all synonyms. There's no difference between a corporation and the bullshit United States government that we have. And I know that because I studied it for 4 years. It's literally a company. It's just a cycle of money and money and money and abuse and abuse and power and power and power. There was one time there was a guest speaker who was like a really top lawyer. I literally like asked, he's like, okay, questions, blah, blah. I asked him. I was like, if lawyers and the law and all of this is made to find justice and to hold people accountable, why is it the most schemiest, grimiest career field out there? Everyone has like the schemy lawyer, the blah, 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 but it's your job to find justice? Okay, bullshit. That just sounds like like a marketing company rep that doesn't care about you. They're cashing out and then they're leaving. It's disgusting and it's not real. I saw this girl who posted this AI slideshow where she was talking to ChatGPT and telling it to answer her question in like code words and stuff, so it wouldn't directly say yes or no. And it was talking about the whole P. Diddy situation. Is like, everyone knows P. Diddy is the sellout right now, right? Like, there's so many people above him that control him, and so many other people, he's just the one that recorded everything. So when he snitches on everyone, where's he gonna go? Probably home. We live in a weak nation based off weak politics ran by weak individuals with our money. basically. And we control nothing. And it's a stage. The world is a stage. Hollywood is a stage. The government is a stage. The voting booth is a stage. Because it's not real. It's not real. Save money, live happy, Walmart.
Do you think there was or could have been a CIA conspiracy to remove you from office?
I don't know. I know many people think so. I would say that I've found it difficult to understand why the CIA, which apparently had advanced knowledge of the break-in, didn't inform me. I've found it difficult to understand how it could have been that at least 2 of those involved had CIA connections, and nevertheless that it was not brought to my attention as far as the break-in occurring. I must say, too, the CIA had motive. It was no secret that I was dissatisfied with the CIA, with its reports, and particularly with their appraisals of Soviet strength and our other problems around the world.
Do you think they feared you?
No question about it, and they had reason to. I was going to shape up that organization and the Defense Department, the whole government for that matter. But particularly that one. At one occasion I said I thought we could cut 1/3 of the people out of the CIA and do a better job. I didn't want to weaken it, as unfortunately it was castrated in the post-Watergate era. I wanted to strengthen it. I wanted to get rid of some of the dead wood and so forth, and they knew it, so they had a motive. I'm not prepared to say whether there was a conspiracy or not. I would only say that it should make a fascinating study for an investigative reporter. He won't win any prizes by writing anything that would not be anti-Nixon. But on the other hand, it would perhaps be historically interesting.
If there was such a conspiracy, do you think that reporter would ever live to write about it? Is it the kind of thing that will ever come out?
I have a feeling that all of this talk that the CIA is going to knock off those that will, shall we say, reveal some of their covert operations, those in this country, I think that's exaggerated. I think that may have been the case in times past, not now.
Well,
he went on CNN last night and gave probably the best 1 minute and 15-second explanation about what just happened. You need to hear every word of this. Check this out.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican, for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true.
And there you have it. That guy put it plain and simple. It doesn't come down to her being a woman of color, none of that. We just want some more money in our pocket at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But anyways, y'all, hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction. Happy Friday. Got you guys a good hour. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, show some love down below. Hey, I want to see who's still here right now watching. Let's think of a random emoji to put. Let's put a bird emoji in the chat, in the comments. If you're still here, if you're still watching an hour into it, Put a bird emoji, any bird, y'all choose. But anyways, y'all, what am I gonna do today? I'm gonna go out there. Well, I'm gonna eat some lunch right now because I'm hungry. Eat some lunch, go for a run on the mountain, come home, clean my truck for the weekend because it's been raining and dusty out here, so my truck is filthy. That's the plan today. Ladies getting out a little early today. Probably go have some dinner somewhere. I don't know. But I hope everyone out there has a good day, y'all. Hope you guys have fun. Hope you have a good weekend. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the Man Cave. I'm going to see you tomorrow on Saturday. Until then, later.